Have you ever noticed how some people just seem to, breeze through life, like they achieve all their goals with like zero effort? And then there are others who, well, they just keep hitting roadblocks.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So today we're diving into this idea of energy vibrations and how they might actually be the key to, well, making the things you want in life happen. It's that whole manifestation thing.
hmm
And we've got a ton of fascinating research here suggesting this isn't just some like woo-woo wishful thinking.
Yeah, no, for sure. All of the stuff we've looked at really dives deep into this concept that everything in the universe is, at its core, vibrating energy.
Okay.
And that includes, even our thoughts and feelings. It's like this fundamental principle that pops up in all sorts of different philosophies and even, scientific ideas about how reality works.
So just to be sure I'm following you, the basic idea is that all the stuff we see is like solid and real is actually just energy that's moving super fast and vibrating at different speeds. Is that right?
Exactly. It's a bit like when you tune a musical instrument, right?
Uh,
Each string is going to vibrate at its own specific frequency, and that makes a different note.
okay.
And our sources use this really helpful analogy. They compare it to like tuning into a radio station.
Oh, I like that.
You have to have the receiver tuned to that exact frequency, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you don't get a clear signal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So our own energy is kind of like sending out its own signal then.
Exactly. It's like our thoughts, emotions, and actions, they're all sending out these vibrational signals.
And I guess what we're saying is that those signals are what attract the energy that matches them.
Exactly. So if you're feeling like really happy and confident a lot of the time, you're essentially broadcasting a high frequency signal. And that tends to draw in positive experiences and opportunities that vibrate at the same level.
Okay.
But if you're constantly anxious or doubting yourself, that's a lower frequency. And guess what? That can attract more challenges.
So it's like our inner world is shaping the world outside of us. Like we're magnets attracting the energy that's like us.
Exactly.
I see. And the research actually like categorizes emotions by their frequency.
Right, it does. Yeah.
So on the higher end, you've got things like love, joy, gratitude, and feeling enthusiastic. And then lower down on the spectrum are like fear, anger, jealousy, and sadness.
Yeah, that's how they break it down.
And what's really cool is that this implies we have a choice in all of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's empowering. We're not just like passively watching our lives happen to us.
Uh-huh.
The research is pretty clear that we can actively choose to shift our own vibrational frequency.
Okay, that's where this idea of like intentionally manifesting things comes in, right?
Exactly. And the science backs this up too. Like focusing on feeling grateful can trigger your brain to release dopamine and serotonin.
Uh-huh.
And those are neurotransmitters that are directly linked to feeling, happy and content, which are high vibrational states.
All right, so we're seeing that everything vibrates, and our vibes are like magnets.
Hmm.
Now, the sources bring up this law of vibration. They say it's kind of like the engine behind the more popular law of attraction.
Hmm.
Can you explain how those two are related?
Sure. So a lot of people just simplify the law of attraction to like attracts like, right? But the law of vibration explains why that happens. Basically, it says that everything in the universe is constantly moving and vibrating at its own specific frequency. And that includes, our thoughts and feelings. Those are just forms of energy too.
Gotcha. So if I'm getting this right, if someone wants to, say, manifest a new career or a loving relationship or more financial stability, they need to like match their vibe to that outcome. It's like that. They need to get on the same wavelengths,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And the research gives some really clear examples of how this works. Like someone might say they want to be wealthy, right? But if they're constantly thinking about not having enough money, if that's where their focus is, well, their energy is actually aligned with scarcity, not abundance. And they're probably going to keep experiencing that lack.
It's like trying to listen to classical music, but you've got your radio tuned to a heavy metal station right now.
Exactly. You're not going to hear what you want.
Yeah, I get it. So
Okay.
it's not enough to just like think about what you want. You've got to feel it too, right?
Exactly. The research we looked at gave the example of someone who wants a great relationship, but they don't feel worthy of love.
Right.
And that feeling of unworthiness, it creates a low vibration that actually pushes away the connection they want.
Wow. So this isn't just about positive thinking then.
No, it's about our emotions too. The key takeaway here is that to manifest anything, we need to think about it, sure,
Uh-huh.
but we also need to feel as if it's already real. That's the vibrational match that attracts the outcome to us.
Looks like we're tricking our brains.
Right.
But
It's more like retraining it, actually. There's this concept called neuroplasticity. Basically, if you consistently act like the person you want to be, You're actually rewiring your brain to align with that reality.
Okay, so that's all super fascinating. But I'm sure a lot of our listeners are thinking, okay, how do I actually do this? How do I raise my vibrations?
Right.
And the good news is the research we dug into actually offers a whole toolbox of practical techniques.
Hmm.
Let's start with gratitude. That seems to be a big one, right?
Yeah, gratitude is like the ultimate vibration booster.
Okay.
Just taking a few moments to appreciate the good things in your life, it instantly shifts your energy towards positivity and abundance.
So just thinking about the stuff I'm grateful for.
It can be that simple. The research actually suggests keeping a gratitude journal. Write down what you're thankful for every day. That
Yep.
helps make it a habit.
Okay, I can see how that would help. What about meditation and breath work? Those are getting pretty popular these days.
Yeah.
How do they fit in here?
So meditation and like focused breathing exercises, those are amazing for clearing out all the mental clutter
Right.
and releasing that stagnant negative energy we all tend to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
They help you quiet your mind, lower your stress levels, and just cultivate a sense of inner peace. And that stillness, it allows your natural higher vibrational state to kind of come to the surface.
Okay. The research also talks about positive affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might think those are a bit cheesy, but what's the science behind them?
Think of positive affirmations as a way to like reprogram your subconscious mind. You're basically using words to change your thoughts.
Mhm.
By repeating positive statements about yourself and your life, you start to shift your internal dialogue. And as a result, your vibration changes too.
So it's about replacing those negative thoughts with ones that are more empowering.
Exact.
Okay, here's one that maybe doesn't seem so obvious. Eating healthy foods.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Like focusing on those high vibrational foods like fruits and vegetables.
Right. So the food we eat, it actually carries its own energetic signature. Yeah, fresh whole foods are considered to vibrate at a much higher frequency than like processed stuff or really refined foods.
Mhm.
So by nourishing your body with those high vibrational foods, you're contributing to your overall sense of well-being and boosting your energy levels. And don't forget about staying hydrated with good, clean water.
Okay, that's a good reminder. Another interesting point is the idea that who we hang out with matters, like surrounding ourselves with people who are, well, high vibe.
Right. Our energy fields are constantly interacting with the people around us. So if you're spending a lot of time with people who are negative or critical or just emotionally draining, that can seriously lower your own vibration.
Yeah, I could see that.
But on the flip side, being around positive, supportive, and inspiring people can totally uplift your energy and make it way easier to stay at a higher frequency.
Right. So, even a coworker who's constantly complaining or a friend who always focuses on the negative, those interactions, even though they seem small, can actually drain us, right?
Exactly. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Those little negative interactions add up over time.
That's a good way to put it.
Mm.
The research also suggests doing creative things like dancing, painting, or playing music as ways to raise our vibes.
Oh, for sure. Creative expression is like this amazing outlet for letting go of pent-up energy.
Yeah.
And when you get into that flow state where you're just totally immersed in what you're doing, you naturally experience joy and passion and fulfillment, which are all high vibrational emotions.
I love that. Finally, the sources touch on energy healing, like Reiki and sound healing and using crystals. Can you tell us a bit more about those?
Yeah, those are all modalities that work directly with your body's energy system. They
Yeah.
help clear blockages and promote a more balanced and higher vibrational state.
So they're like a tune-up for our energy.
Exactly. And they can be really powerful tools for people who feel drawn to them.
Awesome. So we've talked about how to raise our vibrations, but how do we actually direct that energy towards the things we want to manifest?
Right.
The research talks about visualization and emotionally embodying the things you want.
So this is where we actually step in and start shaping our reality.
Okay.
Daily visualization is about taking even just 5 or 10 minutes each morning to imagine your dream life.
Uh-huh.
And I don't just mean like seeing the pictures in your head.
Right.
You have to really feel the emotions that go along with having what you want. The joy, the gratitude, the sense of accomplishment.
It's like pretending you already have it.
It's not really pretending. It's more about stepping into the feeling of having it.
Okay.
Like really experiencing that relief, that joy, that gratitude as if it's your reality right now.
I see. And then there's that acting as if thing. What does that actually look like?
So acting as if takes visualization a step further. You're basically embodying the mindset and the behaviors of the person who already has what you want.
Okay.
Think about it. How would that person carry themselves? What kind of decisions would they make? By aligning your actions with your desired reality, you're strengthening that vibration.
But isn't that a bit like fake it till you make it?
It's not about being fake, it's about focusing on the qualities you admire and want to develop in yourself.
Okay.
You're not pretending to have the exact same things, you're working towards embodying those qualities.
Gotcha. The research also emphasizes the importance of detachment and trust in this whole manifestation process.
Mm.
And that seems a bit counterintuitive, right? If you really want something, shouldn't you be like hustling to get it?
There's a difference between inspired action and desperate clinging.
Right.
Desperation usually comes from a place of lack, and it can actually create resistance.
Really.
Yeah. Detachment means letting go of the need to control exactly how and when your desires will manifest. It's about trusting that the universe will bring them to you at the perfect time.
If you're aligned with that vibration, right?
Exactly.
To illustrate this, the sources we looked at compare lottery winners, who often lose all their money, to people who build their own wealth.
Yeah, that's a really interesting example.
So what's the main takeaway there?
Well, winning the lottery might bring you a ton of money in the short term.
Uh-huh.
But if that person's underlying vibration is still rooted in fear or scarcity, they're likely to attract situations that lead to losing it all.
Okay.
People who create their own wealth, on the other hand, usually develop a mindset and take actions that are aligned with abundance.
Right.
And that allows them to not only make money, but also keep it. It really shows how our dominant vibration shapes our long-term reality.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know the path to manifesting isn't always easy.
No, definitely not.
The research points out some common things we do that can actually lower our vibrations and will sabotage the whole process.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about those. First up, negative self-talk. We all do it,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently it's a big deal.
Oh, yeah, it really is. Our words have power,
Yeah.
And that inner voice, the way we talk to ourselves, it's constantly shaping our vibration. So all those negative thoughts, those critical beliefs we repeat in our heads, things like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be able to do that, those create a low vibration that blocks the flow of positive energy and makes it harder to manifest what we want.
So the first step is to just notice those negative thoughts, right?
Exactly. Become aware of them, and then consciously replace them with statements that are empowering.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What about fear and doubt? Those seem like pretty powerful negative emotions.
Fear is a seriously low-frequency emotion.
Mm,
It constricts our energy and makes us focus on all the bad things that could happen.
right.
And doubt just eats away at our belief in ourselves and in our ability to manifest.
So we have to shift from fear and doubt to trust and faith.
Exactly. That's how we raise our vibration and create the space for our desires to come true.
The impact of toxic relationships comes up a lot too.
Yeah.
We talk about the importance of having supportive people in our lives, but what about the opposite, the people who bring us down?
Those kinds of relationships, the ones that are unsupportive, critical, or just emotionally draining, they can really lower your vibration.
Yeah.
Those interactions often leave you feeling negative and stressed and just depleted.
Right.
And that makes it so much harder to stay at a high frequency.
So setting boundaries is important.
It's essential. And if possible, surround yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you.
Okay. The research also warns against ignoring our intuition.
Hmm.
How does that affect our vibration?
Our intuition is that inner voice, that gut feeling. It's like a direct line to our higher wisdom.
Okay.
And it can guide us towards the right opportunities and decisions.
So when we ignore our intuition, what happens?
Well, we can end up on paths that don't serve us, and that creates a lot of frustration and lowers our vibration.
Makes sense. Finally, there's this trap of trying to force things to happen.
Right.
We talked about detachment, but what does it actually look like to, force manifestation?
When you're trying to force things, it usually comes from a place of anxiety and impatience.
Okay.
You're trying to control every little detail and getting way too attached to a specific outcome or timeline. And that desperation, it creates resistance in your energy field.
So it's like pushing too hard actually pushes away what you want.
Exactly. The key is to let go of the need to control everything. Trust the process and allow things to unfold naturally.
Okay, I'm starting to get the big picture here. This whole deep dive into energy vibrations really highlights that manifestation isn't some magical thing,
Right.
It's about aligning our inner energy with the reality we want to experience.
It is. And the really cool thing is once you grasp that everything vibrates, including your thoughts and feelings, you can start to consciously create your life. It's about taking ownership of your inner world and actively raising your vibration.
I like that.
It's like, think of ordering food online. The law of vibration is the internet connection that lets you browse and choose what you want, the energy you want to vibrate at.
Hmm.
And the law of attraction is the delivery service that brings your order, your manifestation right to your door.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And as the research reminds us, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are.
That's so powerful.
Yeah,
It really emphasizes that the journey starts within each of us.
absolutely.
So here's a question for you, the listener. What kind of vibration are you putting out into the world right now?
Ooh, good one.
And how might that be influencing your experiences? Now, that's something to think about as you continue on your own path of growth and, manifesting the life you want.
That's some good food for thought.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into energy vibrations. And until next time, keep those vibes high.